Hey, welcome back, one and all, to the DFL Podcast with Arch and the Boat.
Yes!
I'm here today.
You are.
Here.
Have you pressed record? I haven't pressed record, but I just did then, actually. So
I have hit record, Arch.
just to start the
Step
shot on
ahead
the
of you.
shambles.
Well, look, after last night, if you didn't catch us last night,
Yes.
well, it was fun. We got in, we were chatting about week 7, and bang, blackout at my house because the weather was just atrocious. And I didn't get power until, I think, 2:30 a.m. after that, so that was fun.
Yeah, and I was not waiting till 2:30 a.m. to let's just get back on track. Look, it was something, wasn't it? I mean, yesterday's weather here in Adelaide.
It was crazy.
The eastern states
We got a
might
lot
be
of
getting
dents
it
in
now.
our cars.
Did you?
Yeah, hail damage,
I
unfortunately.
think I escaped it. I think down on the northern plains where you are, copped the battering. But you know,
Sure
at
did.
our school, I was working. We got out of the class. Like, I was like, nah, stuff this. We're not learning anything, kids. Get out. Let's look at some hail. And the golf ball sized chunks.
Huge.
One of the downpipes just cracked and burst. It was like this stream over the
Wow.
courtyard as well. It was fun stuff until some people got out and saw their cars and like just write-offs everywhere, isn't it?
It's crazy. That's it. And no, I did not win enough on today's slate to pay for some more coal.
Oh, that's what insurance is for, is it right?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the live stream listeners. Love the input there.
Oh,
Now,
what is it?
pergola. My pergola has holes in it, so that's also
Yes.
fun. So, anyway, insurance gonna have to pay for some things there. We'll
speed holes, isn't it? They're the old Simpsons. They're speed holes. A lot of pergolas with nice little wind tunnels coming
Yes.
through.
That's it.
Look, somehow I came across unscathed, but
Lucky you.
the podcast did not. And
Hey,
left
no,
me
you
left
forged
me
on.
sitting here again, Rowan, on my own. I told you not to let that happen again.
We can blame SA Power Networks for this one though. But no, mate, you got going. You gave a little bit of a DFS 101 for some of the listeners who are watching
Yes.
the live stream, and they really appreciated that, which was fantastic. So, guys, we're not going to release last night's schmozzle as a podcast form per se. So, if you want to jump back on YouTube and check it out, you can. It's there in all its glory.
See me stumble and just absolute panic set in on my face when it goes dark on the other side.
It's a good watch.
I don't know what to do. But
Anyway, we're here now. We're here
yes,
now. So,
yeah,
like
no.
we said,
and we've got our we did a week 7 review of how we went in DFS.
yes, we got through that much.
Yeah, that's after we finished that. That's when the power cut out. So if you want to hear us review our week, we're not going to do that again.
No, that's right.
Jump onto YouTube, sitting there. I don't know what I've called it. This is now episode 84, not last night. So it's
The power outage
84A?
craziness. Yeah.
84 bit. I don't know. But,
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, guys,
Here we
catch
are.
us on YouTube. Like and subscribe if you're watching, please. And, of course, hit up our Facebook, Twitter. We have a Patreon as well.
Yeah, got
Guys,
a
the
new
Discord.
member.
Yeah, thanks, Campy. Welcome aboard, mate. And, guys, it's a great little Discord chat that we've got going on. So get on board that.
All
and we
just
love talking
getting
all
better
the-
together.
That's it. That's what it's all about. 5-star reviews, of course, much appreciated. Share us with your mates, of course. And, get around the TFL pod in all those little spaces. And we very much appreciate it. Arch, I think we should just jump into this main slate.
Yeah! Bah, bah! We get a preview down with power.
Extra oomph from Arch tonight as he's waited 24 hours to do that.
I actually tried to hit the sound drop after you'd gone. I said, all right, I'll start it. And I had my volume off, and even that didn't work. So, look, it was I was in all sorts.
Oh, man, last night was something else. Goodness me. If you paid attention to the football today, there was Thursday night football. The
There
Cards
was.
losing their first game to a last 10 seconds left, interception in the red zone. Green Bay take the win. Like, that was a game and a half. If you did well in DFS, well done. Unfortunately, didn't quite crack par, but that's okay. We'll have another go for the main slate. The big number of games that we've got here on a Monday. I think there's only 2 teams. There's only the Ravens and the Raiders on bye, so we're not going to see those guys. And actually, really interestingly, in tight end land, that means we've got no Kelsey, no Darren Waller, no Mark Andrews on the main slate here. So you got to get a little creative, which I like. I like that about this slate, that's for sure. So we're going to jump in. It's one of the first games of the round, and one of the games I'm looking forward to a lot, actually. It's Buffalo taking on Miami. Buffalo, of course, 13.5-point favourites in a 49.5-point
I think
total.
they'll cover.
Yeah, it's very possible they will. Miami's defense has not looked good. But, Arch, what are we doing here in this game? Are we stacking?
Look, Josh Allen is going to be probably the cash quarterback, I think, this week. The matchup is ridiculous. The implied team total, 31.5. The points are all on the Buffalo side. Absolutely, we can create some stacks. And so I thought, I don't know if we've mentioned, Rowan, how we're going to sort of attack these
No,
these
something new
matchups.
for us. Yeah,
Yeah, so we thought we'd try to focus in on our efforts, and we want to sort of ask ourselves, is this game stackable to start with, and what stacks are we sort of thinking? And so that's the dog just pushing the door open again.
On your text.
Yeah. So Josh Allen obviously is super popular. The problem with GPPs is he has to hit to warrant, I think, that salary. And look, there's high likelihood he does hit. And so just be aware that he's going to be super popular. And
you really want him to hit 33 points, don't you? Yeah, he has to hit that to really kind of take you to that top tier, if not more. And of course, he's then going to be super highly rostered across the.
And it's going to be a popular stack, isn't it? And so I think what you need to do is, if you think Allen is going to put up all those points, I think this is a 2 pass catching stack situation where probably a Diggs and a Sanders would be a fairly popular onslaught stack, but the 2 pass catches is less popular than maybe just having the one.
Possibly
stack. So the double stacks maybe how you get a little bit more different from what people are thinking. Or I'll do an Allen Diggs stack or an Allen Sanders stack. I think Allen Sanders might even be more popular than Diggs just for price reasons, because you have to devote so much salary to Allen and Diggs, and so potentially just by the sheer price, it won't be as popular. So, but there's definitely points on that side. I don't think I'm interested in a bring back, so to speak. I just don't think the matchup's there. Look, Tua's been good for fantasy the last couple weeks. I think this week's are just, only an 18-point implied team total. I don't think Gesicki, as he'll be the popular bring back. I'm probably going to look elsewhere instead.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like Buffalo, their defense is playing lights out at the moment. And we talked about DVOA a little bit last week. We're going to use that a little bit more. This stat where it's defense value over adjusted. Basically, it's taking into account things like who they've played, the schedule, all that kind of stuff against the versus pass and rush. Buffalo, they're just number 1 against the pass in terms of stopping that, and they're 6th against the rush. So this team is just on fire on both sides of the ball right now. I think as well we've got to consider Dawson Knox is unlikely to play. And so without a Dawson Knox, I really think, and this is one of your cheapies here, Arch, is Cole Beasley. He's not priced super high on DraftStars. He's sub 10K, which I think anyone sub 10K you're looking at as a cheap option. And Beasley, he's going to get these underneath routes. He's going to be playing in that space that Knox probably was. So I like Beasley here, but you got someone else here as a cheapie as well.
Yeah, and I think it's the same sort of idea. Gabriel Davis is just in, it's who could be, someone like a Dawson Knox comes out, who's the next person that's going to elevate and get those extra targets, and it could be one or the other there. So I'd be sprinkling them into a couple lineups here and there for sure.
So we've got, are they stackable? Who are the cheapies? Next one's who's risky. Who don't you like the look of it, or who has potential, but there's a lot of risk involved when you play.
So and I think Waddle's probably someone that comes to mind where the talent's there and he seems like a logical bring back, but the matchup is just going to be hard for this offense to get going. And I just don't think this is a game where there's we like to have that correlated bring back piece. I don't think this is a game where you need to do that for this stack to work. So Tua as well, I'm just not risking putting Tua out there heavily. Maybe I'll do a Tua Waddle Gesicki stack just for fun, but without too much
chuck
confidence.
A 50-cent entry in there,
That's it. Put a 50-cent on something like that because it's contrarian, but that's about it. You have no confidence in it happening. So on the off chance that Tua turns out to be someone brilliant, I'm just avoiding Miami, to be honest.
Yeah, sure. I think Waddle would be the guy I think who's going to get the most targets. So if you're going to play anything off that, then he's the best bet, I think.
Yeah.
But
Do we know if Parker's playing?
Still up in the air from what I can gather.
Yep.
Cash pick's the last thing that we want to talk about here. And you mentioned Allen as the cash QB of the week, and I wholeheartedly agree. So anyone else here that you think is a great cash play?
I think Sanders is someone that could, he's getting the targets. He's a fair bit cheaper than, a Diggs that you could, potentially have that as a stack within your cash game lineup, and it could work. But mainly I'm looking at Josh Allen.
Yeah, for sure. One name I'll throw out at you, though, is Zach Moss. We haven't talked about the running backs here.
No.
In a game where Buffalo's highly favoured, how do you view Zach Moss? He's only 9,200 on DraftStars. Great price here. I think he'll find his way into a fair few of my lineups.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's the Josh Allen scenario of, is he getting the goal line and touchdown opportunities? That sort of limits that ceiling for me. But you can't argue with the price to throw in, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Just on Devontae Parker, he's practicing this week, and on Thursday he said he's feeling better, but he did stop short of declaring himself ready to play against the Bills. So, just eye on that.
Normally,
next up,
if they're playing, don't they?
Yeah, they usually do. Next up, we've got Atlanta taking on Carolina. Atlanta 3-point favorites here after Carolina's just abysmal month of football. There's a 46-point total here, which means that there's some value in this game still. Like anything that's between that 45-50 range is still kind of like to hit. And question is this stackable? And I think yes, it is on both sides. But I'm pretty tentative about this. I don't know if I trust either of these teams. We don't know which Carolina defense we're going to get on that side. And so if anything, I'm probably favoring Atlanta when it comes to stacking this. But we also know that the Atlanta defense is pretty rubbish against the pass as well. And so what Sam Darnold's going to turn up. So for me, it's a big question marks around Carolina more than anything else. Are they going to be able to stop either side? So I think you can. Think you can stack, but it's not something they'll be doing a lot of. How do you feel about this matchup, Arch?
Yeah, look, I think this is a DJ Moore get right week, and then if it is that, potentially it's a Darnold get right. Like he's down in the dumps. This is a chance against a more favourable matchup that he can actually get something going on offense. And momentum's a funny thing in sport. He gets a couple drives going, he might feel $1 million again. And so
it's true.
I think the Carolina side has some definite playable options here. I think Chuba Hubbard as well. I always look for especially the post-hype disappointing players. Like Chuba Hubbard was in a lot of lineups last week, and he just didn't get there. And so I think he'll be discarded. And so that's when my eyes are thinking, well, should I discard him, or is there an opportunity to get leverage? And I think Chuba Hubbard's an opportunity this week. And same with DJ Moore, where their prices are low, like compared to what they could produce. Like DJ Moore, how he started the start of the season, now he's only $13K on DraftStars. I'm all in on DJ Moore this week.
Yeah, I think DJ Moore's a fantastic play. If we're looking at cheap plays here, I think Robbie Anderson's probably the one that I would go to. He's 9,700 on DraftStars, 4,700 on DraftKings. Shout out to DraftKings, being the last week that we can play DraftKings in Australia. Anyway,
is it? I thought it was November 15.
Oh, I thought it was 5th. Anyway, maybe I'm getting my head around the wrong way. Either way, Robbie Anderson.
He's getting targets.
He's getting the targets. His usage
He's not catching
them. No. So against the 30th ranked in DVOA pass defense, I'm looking at this and going, well, maybe Robbie Anderson maybe this could be the one, right? Where you throw him in as your cheap wide receiver 3, and he could hit. So, there's risk there, of course. But as a cheap player in this game, I think he's one of the best cheap players here. There's not many others that I would consider cheap that I would like to play. Like Terrace Marshall, Hayden Hurst. I don't know, these guys. I can't
How's
bring
Mike
myself to play them.
Davis's season going when now he's
Bad.
a healthy stone cold minimum 8K on Draft Stars? Like,
Yeah.
that's not how we all expected that to go.
No. We'll get to something related to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
But my risky pick.
Intrigued.
Yeah. My risky pick is Ridley. Calvin Ridley is a risky pick here. We haven't seen the production yet. And the game plan has changed. They are not throwing it downfield anywhere near as much as they used to. I think they've gone to, if I get my stats right, about 29th in the league for 20-plus yard throws, down from, I think, ranking second or third last year. So the ADOT, the average depth of target for Calvin Ridley's gone down to just 10 yards for the year so far. So he's not getting downfield as much. Again, he's getting targets. He is being looked at. He got in the end zone. There are so many good things about Ridley, but it's just not translating to fantasy points at the moment. So will it be this week? I don't know, but the offense does really seem to be gelling and getting a move on. So Ridley is risky. I think he's got a great ceiling, but unfortunately the floor is pretty low as well. Yeah. So
for me as well, it's I'd rather play probably their new number one wide receiver in Kyle Pitts at $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't care that he's got the tight end, next to his name. He's a wide receiver for that team. And
sure is.
The last two games, we've seen how they want to use him, and it's been going pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's going to be super chalky this week with no big dogs in tight end. I think everyone's going to see Kyle Pitts in his last 2 weeks and want to run to him.
Yeah, I think so, which makes him a cash pick. You can go there for sure. But the other cash pick that I have is related to Mike Davis, and that's his undoing, and that's Cordero Patterson.
Yes.
Cordero Patterson
his price is getting up there now.
It's expensive for sure. He's 14,000 on Draft Stars, 6,200 on DraftKings though, so that's not too bad. He's just getting touches though.
Yes.
And every week his touch totals just seem to be increasing. He's being used in the offense in many different ways. He is clearly an important cog in this Falcons machine. So I can't see Cordero Patterson going away in the slightest. And he's getting high value touches as well. He's getting them around the end zone. He's being looked at for those nice little slot slants and all that kind of stuff. Plus he's rushing the ball. So when you can play him as a running back and he's getting all of these receiving options as well, I have no problem playing Cordero Patterson this week.
And you shouldn't. But he's going to hit into that salary big time, though.
He will. But we've seen his ceiling, and it's pretty darn good.
Yes.
Next up, we've got Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Arch, I'll just pass this to you. What do you have to say about this game?
Pass. I mean, what pieces could you be happy with?
No, I'm not so sure here.
No, I'm just not interested.
Deontay Johnson gets targets.
Maybe Claypool has a tendency to play well against the Browns, and the
Browns don't have a great passing defense. They're awesome against the run.
So potentially, I might sprinkle in a Chase Claypool at 11K. That's not too bad for mine. Obviously, Najee Harris is always in play. Just sheer volume.
Oh yeah.
14.5K is he's not super cheap, but you look below him. You got Cordero Patterson, Lenny Fournette, Nick Chubb, James Robinson. They're the next, I guess, guys on there, and it's who's getting that many targets like Najee is, and just constant in a PPR format. I think let me just bring up a stat here. You talked about high value touches. Yeah. Touches near the end zone. He leads the league in high value touches. He's had 42 of the buggers, tied with DeAndre Swift, which we'll get to later. So I think Harris is someone you can be fairly safe with. But other than that, I'm not putting any stacks into this game. Heck no. I'm not looking for any cheap punt plays out of this game. Heck no. If we're looking at a game that's got a 42 over-under. I've already talked too much about this game. Can we move on, please?
We can. Injuries as well. Let's keep going. Next up, we've got, I don't know if it's any better, but it's the Jets taking on Cincinnati.
There's some things.
Cincinnati are just killing it at the moment. They're 11-point favourites here. 42.5-point total, though. That's a bit gross. 26.75 implied total to Cincinnati. And so in that regard, it's stackable with Cincinnati, and that is it. No one's playing any Jets. But look, Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase, and he could be pulling off a big, fat 80-yard touchdown catch here pretty easily against the Jets secondary, which, frankly, is not fantastic. So, yeah, I'm happy to play a bit of a Cincinnati onslaught.
What do you think about a Jamison Crowder bring back? Like, just if you look at how many targets he's getting in a PPR format, is that an option? Like, he's only, 8K really?
Yeah, look, he's really low price, which is fantastic. If, like, Cincinnati...
The analytics say that, the Vegas lines means that, we generally don't like to play on that side, but...
For sure. I mean, if you're playing Jamison Crowder, it's less about touchdowns and more about catches. Yeah. And that's what you're getting in this PPR format, for sure. So it's there. It's a possibility.
Is Flacco going to start this week?
It looks like he's going to start. Well,
he's not even in...
Maybe Mike Smith. Mike White, he'll probably start. Flacco probably needs a week.
I don't even think he's in draft stars, Flacco.
Oh, really? Is he out?
I couldn't find him.
There you go. Well, I don't think Flacco would... Don't play him anyway.
yeah.
Don't think.
Don't look for him.
No, that's right. Jamison Crowder, I guess, is something to think about. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, looking at this though, Cincinnati have just stepped up as a whole team. I just don't really want to play any Jets. I'm not going to take the risk. It's just too risky to play any of them. The cheapie though is he's been like in the 5K. He's 5K.
Yeah.
CJ Uzama. There was a video. I don't know if you saw this video. There's the Cincinnati Twitter social page put out this video. It was basically CJ Uzama just having a go at all the commentators for not being able to say his name right, and he's like, "It's Uzama, it's Uzama." Anyway, so CJ Uzama, he's my cheapie pick here for tight end land. He's catching touchdowns, and man, he manhandled the Ravens defense last week for a fantastic touchdown run. I think if you're looking for a guy in an offense who, the big question mark here is that they probably won't need him at all. But CJ Uzama is that really basement price tight end that I'm happy to play this week. So I don't mind that from him.
Yeah. I think it's craziness that after 2 touchdowns he still 5K.
Yeah, yeah. He's
amazing.
Clearly a valued part of this offense.
Yeah, I would have thought at least climb up to 5.5 draft stars. But, I'm happy for the... I'd say he'd be a pretty popular punt tight end, though, after last week.
He will be.
And he could easily just fail.
Yeah, it's true. Look, this is tight ends we're talking about. The risky pick here that I've got is T. Higgins. He had 15 targets last week.
That's
15
crazy.
Targets. No one's getting that. So... Again, value part of the offense. Again, low ADOT and not bringing them in as much as we'd like to see them as well. But against the Jets, why not? Why can't Higgins just go bang in this game? So he's the opposite. I think he's the pivot from Chase. I think he's a clear pivot from Chase. If you're going to play Chase and you're like, he's chalky because he's big play, everyone's liking him against the Jets secondary. Pivot to Higgins. He's cheaper by 3K. 3,000 cheaper on draft stars, which is great. So, and that might free up some space in your lineup. And maybe Higgins is the one with the touchdown this week, or maybe he just gets 10 catches. So, I think Higgins though risky, but could be a good pivot piece here. And lastly,
what about for some cash?
For cash, it's Joe Mixon all the way. Seriously, how can you?
Do we have a P Ryan problem though?
Look,
I just wanted to say that by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm going to ignore P. Ryan in all forms.
But do we have an issue? Is he stealing some work? What's going on?
Look, I think what we're just seeing is perhaps just a good balanced offense.
Yeah.
Where Mixon is just getting spelled by P. Ryan, just as we'd expect anyone to get spelled by the other running backs on the team.
So if I'm thinking of I'm thinking my cash lineup, Joe Mixon at 14,700, Najee
Sure.
Harris at 14,500. Who do you have the most confidence in their volume and work?
I think in terms of volume, sure, it probably goes to Najee. In terms of what they can do against the team that they're opposing, it's Mixon all day.
Yeah.
I think Mixon against the Jets is going to be able to pull off a better yards per carry and get into the red zone.
Yeah.
They'll be in the red zone more. I think Cincinnati are going to be in the red zone more than Pittsburgh
Just
are.
so Piron can get a touchdown for the team.
Potentially, but look, if that's also an option, there's also anyway. Mixon's also there. Stop playing that card.
No,
I think, happy to move on. Next up, we've got a real popular game. This is one of the best games on the slate. It's the Colts taking on the Titans. The Colts are 1-point favorite here in a 50.5 total.
Yeah, and this has been bet up as well. So the sharps are on the overs for this game. So look, this is going to be a very popular game on the slate that people are going to stack. And so we've got to make the decision. Are we going to fade and hope to get leverage, or are we going to go with it and get different elsewhere? I'm not brave enough to fade this game.
No, I think if you want pieces of it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In pretty much every lineup.
I look at it and I start thinking, all right, when I looked at this game, I brought up, the Draft Stars running back list and thinking, all right, let's find Derrick Henry up the top. He is the running back 5. What are you thinking?
I mean, they've got Christian McCaffrey there, who's clearly not going to play. So put it as 4.
I mean, Swift and Eckler above. I don't know. Anyway,
there is a $2,700 gap between Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry on Draft
He
Stars.
has to be in your cash lineup.
Yeah, he has to.
Has to be. He is the running back 1 on DraftKings. It's quite interesting how they've decided to go different. As Draft Stars do their salaries a few days later. Look, the running backs in this game, I'm excited to see. I think Jonathan Taylor as well is someone you can definitely be playing in stacks. Look, I don't mind a Wentz Pittman stack. It hurt me in Showdown last week, but we saw the beast that Pittman's starting to become.
Pittman.
And you throw that, run that back with Henry. Heck, I'd be keen to even throw another punt plan Mo Alley Cox. He just seems to be catching touchdowns every week. And what is he? He's something like he's only 5.2K still. And so
you'd be going Mo Alley Cox over a CJ Uzama?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
If I go Wentz, Pittman, and Mo Alley Cox, and then bring back with Henry, that's a pretty affordable way to get Henry in a GPP lineup, and I've got salary relief elsewhere. Because Wentz is not expensive. He's only 12.5K basically. So if you think Wentz has got it, I guess that's the thing. Can Wentz keep up? And we saw Tennessee take on the might. Well, I say might. the perceived might of the Chiefs. And so on the other side, though, if you thought maybe the higher points totals, they're going to have to throw it a little bit more. Tannehill with AJ Brown. We saw what AJ Brown, he's back in business, and throw that and then run that back with JT. I like that as well. And so there's so many stacking options here. They're just 2. And so, I'm definitely going to throw a few out there. I guess what I'm probably going to look at is try to find some rostership projections and try to see, where the crowd's thinking, and try not to get too chalky in whatever I'm choosing. And so where can I get different in this game? And so potentially is a Julio Jones if he's healthy. If he's healthy and playing, everyone's going to go to AJ Brown. People are going to have question marks on Julio. So this could be an opportunity if he hits that you can gain massive leverage on the field. T.Y. Hilton, I don't know if we know he's playing yet. If he's playing, I'm probably going to be a little less high on Pittman. That's the only other thing I'd probably want to throw out a bit of caution to.
Yeah, I hear that. I think, T.Y. is always going to pull targets, and so you got to watch out for him.
But cheapies, though, Look, Miley Cox, I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
I think he's one of my he's up there as one of my favourite punt play tight ends this week. I think there's actually a good handful available to us this week.
Yeah, there's a few.
So he's one of them. He's catching touchdowns, and so I like that. Zach Pascal, he's still super cheap, and there's always a chance to get targets as well, especially if Hilton's out. So
for sure.
I'll keep an eye on him, but I wouldn't be very heavy on him though, because he's he is quite a thin play. Risky. I already sort of talked about Julio. It's good leverage play, but what's up? Oh,
Give me 1 second.
oh, do. We're just going to pause. I'll edit this out. 31 minutes.
Sorry about that.
What happened?
Wife interrupted.
We'll edit that out for the audio pod. Thanks.
That's it. No, all good.
And on the YouTube channel, but it will live on in Periscope because I don't know how. I don't think you can edit.
Anyway, apologies, everyone.
What are we talking about? Risky plays though.
Yeah, Julio.
I think Julio. Like I said, I think he's a good leverage play if he's healthy, but obviously that comes with risk.
Yeah, for sure.
But with risk comes opportunity. Cash. It's just the running backs in this game are just going to feast. I think they'll not feast, but they're just good.
They're just
they're
there.
Just
they're
in
just,
form. Their
volume is high. That's for sure.
They're just playing so well, but the pricing's a bit heavy. So I think this week I think is going to be salary management is going to be pretty tricky. I reckon this week on this slate.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that is interesting is that the Colts are currently number 1 in rush DVOA, and so this is Derrick Henry that we're talking about. So you gotta just
I don't look at stats when I look at Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's right.
I just look. Is it cold outside? Put him in.
Put him in. That's it. Naeem Hines also been running way less routes recently compared to Jonathan Taylor. So love that for JT as well.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Hines is just he'd be sitting on waivers in all your redraft leagues, surely.
Yeah, pretty much. He should be anyway. That's
you
right.
probably hold him because you've always had a love affair with Hines.
Oh, it's just those pass catching backs. Love what they can do. That's for sure. Anyway, we are on Patreon, everybody. And we'd love you to join us.
What a segue. What a segue.
That's right. Want to get better at DFS but not sure how? One of the best ways to improve your return on investment is to join a thriving DFS community, and we hope to provide that with our Patreon Discord server. So share thoughts, discuss your process, share screenshots, and ask a heap of questions. Everyone is chatting. We're all in this together, so let's join up, grow together in this space. We'll even share our cash game lineup each week. And to get in on the action, all you need to do is join our Patreon at patreon.com/the TFL podcast. Every tier is eligible for the Discord, with tiers starting at just $2 Australian a month.
That's just too cheap. That's
Too
too
cheap.
cheap. I'm going to raise it, actually.
Don't tell me about that. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee,
yes,
that's a mouthful. Then come join us at patreon.com/the TFL podcast.
Help keep the lights on, literally.
Literally. Goodness gracious. Oh dear. Next up we got Detroit and Philly. Oh, this is an interesting game. Philly are 3.5-point favorites. It's a 48.5-point total, but I would not be surprised if what's that again?
It's got a total.
I honestly feel like Detroit could cover this.
Yeah.
And win potentially. I don't love stacking this game.
No. Did I type into this one?
You must have, I think. But either way, I'm going to take your notes because I agree. Hurts, really, he's been a garbage time guy, and he's not going to need to really push hard.
No, potentially he'll have a lead.
Yeah,
he'll have a lead. He doesn't know what to do with that, and so he'll probably just stink.
Yeah, look, I think this is a game that goes under its total. Cheapy wise, Quez Watkins is in play because he is basement price on the Draft Stars website. So they and he's
is he the wide receiver too?
Him and Rager, seriously, I don't even know what to make of Rager at the moment, but
I mean,
Watkins,
the equivalent wide receiver 2 is a wide receiver 4 elsewhere for this team. But
yes, that's true. So Quez Watkins is there. I think he's definitely in play as a one-off cheap wide receiver. Detroit pieces, though, it's hard. I mean, DeAndre Swift is a gun, and who's going to catch the ball here? It's Swift. It's
maybe Hawkinson.
And where are Philly really rubbish at the moment on defense? It's the linebackers. It's in the middle of the ground. It's those short. It's the short field. They're really bad at the moment. So DeAndre Swift is a great play. I honestly think he's going to be good in cash. He's priced up on DraftStars. He's 16-6.
More than Henry.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to just more defense. DraftStars, I think, take more of the defense into account, which is interesting. So Swift, like if you can fit him in, I think he's going to have a great game. If any touchdowns are going to get scored, it's probably going to be through him, possibly Hawkinson as well, because tight ends have been having good days against Philadelphia as well. On the other side, I don't know what's going to happen in running back land for the Eagles, so let's avoid all of them. Let's just not worry about it.
Gainwell could be good.
He could be good, but he's also priced up at 10,700. I don't want to do that. No. Boston Scott's basement.
You got a play, I think, considering the tight end landscape. I think 9.1K is pretty good value for someone who could be, one of the main targets, really.
Yeah, should go Devonta Smith and then Goddard, really, if I'm reading it right. So, yeah, Goddard's definitely in play, for sure. He could be there for 6 targets.
But I'm not stacking.
No, I'm not going to stack. To be honest, I would do some Goff stacks in the 50 cent, right? Like that, no one's going to do that. Goff is super cheap. Goff's super cheap at barely just over 10,000.
Goff to who?
Goff to Swift.
Just that.
Go to Swift.
The quarterback running back stack.
Look, it'd be different, but I could see it happening. I could see Swift gaining 10 targets and go for 6 for 65 and a touchdown, and then put on another 50, 60 yards on the ground.
Nah.
Either way.
Gross.
Yeah, it's a bit gross. No, if you're going to play Goff, you probably have to put Hawkinson in and hope that he's going to have a massive game. But either way. Let's move on to the next one, which is Chicago taking on San Francisco. San Francisco, 4-point favorites. Only 4 points.
9.5 point over under. That's gross. Look, this is just another full fat. The Chicago experiment is done.
Oh, gosh.
There are no good lineups with Fields. There are no good lineups with Mooney. There are no good lineups with Allen Robinson. Just don't play them at all.
Nope.
Don't. If you do, you're not allowed to listen to our pod anymore.
That's it. You're out.
You're out.
I don't know how to do that.
Sure. I'll find it. I'm not stacking anything. And I look through and I don't think there's a piece I want to play.
No, I think if anyone, I'm going to play Elijah Mitchell because these guys are going to get up.
But I don't even think I want to do that because, Shanahan can still Shanahan. And it's the implied team total is only 21 points still. Like, these are gross numbers. I'm not playing them.
I know.
Vegas knows things. We don't. And
I still feel like Mitchell this could be a 2-touchdown game for him. They just play slow, run it into the ground, and he knocks it into the end zone a couple of times. And that's the way they win.
Maybe. I ain't guaranteed. I'm not putting too much into that. No, I'm just out. I
can't see Hasty or Sermon coming in to take his load.
Yeah, look, all right. Maybe we can look at Elijah Mitchell, but Cole Kmet, you're done as a punt play tight end.
No thanks.
Yeah, get stuff. How is he 6.6K compared to these other 5K guys?
It's a joke, absolute joke.
I'm out.
I don't know what DraftStars are doing there. It's a stupid thing. Let's
move
on.
I'm moving on.
Yeah, let's go. Next game, a bit more exciting. Last of the 1 p.m. games. It's Houston taking on the Rams. I mean, it's exciting because the Rams are playing. I love when the Rams play because I get to play Cooper Kupp. I get to play Darrell Henderson. Both of those guys are just going to be smashing it this week.
I hate Cooper Kupp.
He just breaks the slate every time.
I keep fading him.
Why? Why do you do this?
Because
he's expensive and he can't.
What you do? He hasn't been that expensive, but he's just been super popular, and it's just Can we ever fade Cup? I think I'm gonna just have to not.
This is a Rams onslaught every day of the week for me here.
Yeah,
you could bring it back if Tyrod's back. Then you could bring back Cooks. That's it. That's the only way I would bring back Cooks is if Tyrod's back, because we saw Cooks do pretty well with Tyrod the first few weeks.
Yeah.
Cheapy for mine, Van Jefferson. This is a high-powered offense. This is a game where they're gonna just demolish him. This is a game where you could see Van Jefferson flash for a 60-yard touchdown. This is his basement price essentially. Where is he? Yep, 6. Have you got him on the sheet here? You haven't even got him on the sheet here.
Who?
What are you doing? Van Jefferson. Where is he?
Isn't he?
Where is he, Arch? Come on, mate.
I don't know, must have accidentally
I'll look him up just to get my price. But either way, Van Jefferson is a guy that I really like a lot. And look, there he is. He is 7,800 on DraftStars, so that's not too bad as a play. The risky one is Woods.
Yep.
We don't always know exactly what he's going to be doing. So I think
for me, I'm seeing a Stafford Cup Higbee stack.
I love Higbee. Love Higbee.
I think this is a great spot for Higbee. Again, the
cash tight end Higbee.
Yeah, potentially. 9K is pretty good price. You know, not generally I like to avoid the mid price tight ends, but you know the opponent's too good, and the heavy favourites here. I think Higbee's in a good spot.
Houston as well against tight ends. They are 4th easiest to score against for tight ends as well. So love that. Next,
Henderson as well.
Oh, sorry, Henderson. Yes, I mean it's against Houston, right?
So he disappointed last week. Now, I guess this is where the
usage was there though. Michelle wasn't anywhere to be seen.
No, but for me, it's the game theory that it's the game within the game of DFS, trying to predict what the field's doing, right?
Sure.
And he disappointed a lot of people last week. How smart is is the field smart enough to not dismiss like recency bias too much, like, or is everyone going to fade him? Like that's the thing I'm thinking about. Are people going to think that, oh no, everyone's going to fade him, so then I'll play, but then turns out he's another super chalky running back this week.
You're just going to double guess yourself there and triple guess him.
No, but this is how we want to think sometimes though.
No, it's important to consider. I think coming off of a dud week for what you were paying for him, for sure. I think that always,
and his price hasn't gone down on the back of that. Like, he is so much cheaper on DraftKings, it's not funny. Like,
that's right,
6,500 on DraftKings, and he's so much more, 15K. Like, you know,
which double. Also might put people off as well because he's right up the top there. So I think when you're looking at that, I think he could be a good GPP play. Yeah, he could be there. I think he's great for cash because he's just playing Houston and this is the Rams. But anyway, let's not talk about Houston because they're rubbish. Next up, we've got Seattle taking on Jacksonville, which I think is a really interesting game here, Arch. It's a 43-point total. I know this is more about the Jacksonville side, though, than anything else. Where are you at with this thing?
Oh, look, it doesn't excite me too much, to be honest. Geno's broken. Seattle's broken. Like, you can't trust anything that's going on there. It's got a low over-under. Potentially Jacksonville plus 3.5. I don't mind. Like they've got enough pieces that could get going. I think this is James Robinson's spot where he could do well.
One of my favorite cash running backs this week.
Yeah, definitely. 13K is a little bit like that next tier under a lot of the guys we've talked about already.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's under Mixon, under Cordero Patterson, under Henderson, under those guys, I think.
No, and we need to find some of those cheaper running backs, I think, for cash to be able to fit in a lot of other pieces. So he's definitely on my radar. Just his usage, he's getting targets, he's getting a lot of carries.
Carlos Hyde is not a threat anymore.
No, it looks like they've actually worked out that he's remembered, I guess, that he's good at football. ETN's going to come back one day, I guess. Who knows?
Next year's will be interesting. But
no, look, I'm not. Look, Lockett, I can't go there. I can't. There's a mental block. I think it's because I've overexposed myself in redraft and best ball that I can't have him ruin anything else in my life.
What do you? Yeah, I know. Lockett's
but he's 10K. That's pretty cheap for someone who could be awesome. But Gino's crap. Gino can't service him.
No, not at all. They don't have the same connection that Russ has with him. That's for sure.
So,
let me throw someone at you then.
All right.
There's the wide receivers in Jacksonville, right? There's Marvin Jones and there's LaVisca, and both of those probably could have okay days. I think we're pretty middle of the road with them. Where are you at with Jamal Agnew?
I thought that's where you were going.
He is 6K basement 6K. Price. He's had two weeks. 2 weeks ago against Tennessee, 6 for 41 and 8 rushing yards, so 10.9 DraftKings points, and then 5 receptions for 78. They like this guy underneath. It looks like a trend. Is this going to continue?
Yeah, well, maybe. 6K is worth a shot, though, isn't it? So
yeah, 100%.
Let me try to bring him up.
The other guy that I was wondering about as a basement price wide receiver here was Freddie Swain. And that's because he's the clear wide receiver 3, and he's getting more looks from Gino than Metcalf and Lockett are. And maybe that's because he's practiced more with him. There's a bit of a rapport there. Freddie Swain, on the outs every now and then, so he goes and practices with the 2s instead of the 1s, and that's where Gino is. So, I don't know. He's shown that he can pull in maybe enough to warrant a decent floor at a 6K wide receiver on DraftStars.
Yeah, no, I like that. If we're going to go back to Agnew, I've just pulled him up here. Last 2 weeks, as you said, 8 targets 2 weeks ago, 6 targets last week, 24% target share 2 weeks ago, 14% last game, and his route participations hovering around the 70% mark, and his targets per route are 20 to 30%. Like you said, they like him. 6K.
And against defense, that's been pretty rubbish against that short game.
I think you've talked me. Let's add him to our list of 6K wide receivers to our GPPs.
Done. Lock it in. Dan Arnold.
Can't argue with those numbers. Can't argue
not at all. That's it. Dan Arnold, punt tight end. I don't mind it.
Look, he's getting the targets. He's got a good matchup. You can't. You absolutely 5.1K. He's one of the.
Put him in the
for
pool.
me, if I look at the 5K tight end landscape, which I always do every week because they help us in everything, it's the Mo Alley Cox, it's the CJ Uzama and Arnold. I think they're the 3.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any more. Happy to add one if we can find one, but they're the 3 that I've looked at so far.
Well, let's go to the next game because there's someone here that I don't mind, and it's the Chargers taking on the Patriots. The Chargers are 6-point favorites, 49-point total, which is fantastic here. Is it stackable? Yes, 100% with the Chargers. You could definitely stack them. The Patriots, I haven't seen enough from Mac Jones just yet, but he's warming up, so I don't mind a sneaky play here. It's possible. But I think where you really want to attack the Chargers is in 2 spots, and that is in tight ends, because the Chargers have given up, on average, 20.3 DraftKings points a week to the tight end position. And you also want to attack them at running back. Running back, they have given up the 4th most points per week to the running back. So they are letting teams have that middle spot in the field, and they're really taking out the wide receivers. So I'm going to be fading guys like your Kendrick Bournes and your Jacoby Myers here. That's not what I want to see. Instead, I want to see a Chargers stack. Give me Mike Williams, give me Keenan Allen, even though Keenan Allen is my risky pick for this game. We just haven't quite seen it yet from him, but I don't know. He's Keenan Allen, right? There's still got to be something to be said for that. But Mike Williams is the guy. And bring it back with, this is one of my cheap plays here, it's Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith is a tight end that is getting use. I know he's not getting used as much as Hunter Henry, but he's still a valued part of that offense. And if Belichick knows what to do, it's to target the weaknesses of the other defense. So I expect Henry and Johnny Smith to both be pretty involved here in this game. And Johnny Smith, I think, is a cheapie that you can play. The other guy, though, and this is my cash pick for this game, is Damian Harris. Yeah. Because the Chargers, they love to let teams run the ball. They have a run funnel. So Damian Harris
10K.
there at less than 10K once again. Oh, no, sorry, 10K and $40
Yes.
on DraftStars. Damian Harris, I think, is he's in line. He's the number one running back. They want to use him. The only reason he wasn't getting all the junk time stuff was because he's the one. They let J.J. Taylor and Brandon Bolden take some stuff because they were clearly winning the game. Didn't need Damian Harris out there. Look after your running back. Smart move. So Damian Harris here, I think, is a really solid play. Anything you want to add to this matchup?
Yeah,
Arch?
I think just probably want to monitor Jonnu Smith's training this week. He's limited in practice all week, so with the shoulder. So just
Well, if he's out, then Hunter Henry is a smash play at tight end.
Yeah, it's crazy. What sucks is that the Chargers had the bye after their disappointing game because I think everyone's going to forget about it and this will be popular, whereas potentially we might have had a chance to stack a Chargers team that wasn't as popular. But
That's it. Mike Williams was injured last game as well, so he's had 2 weeks to get right. So he's in a pretty nice spot here. I like Williams.
No, give me some Chargers stacks.
That's it. Next up, we got New Orleans Saints taking on Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa's 5-point favorites, 50-point total. Chris, this is definitely stackable. 100%.
As I crush on some ice. But I really probably don't want too much of the Tampa Bay side. I mean, I want the Tampa Bay side. I don't want the New Orleans side as much. For me, it's heavy stack on the Tampa side. I'm like two pass catchers. Like I'm not just going to do Brady and 1. It's going to be Brady and 2. And so we've got the 3 wide receivers to think about. If Antonio Brown starts, that just
he's not going. I don't think he's going to play. I think he can pretty safely assume he's
in
out.
a way. I mean, it's weird to say I hope he doesn't play, but it simplifies things in a lot of ways. And so, last week I had a lot of success fading Godwin and leaning into Evans, and that worked out very well. Didn't help. Unfortunately, the other pieces around those lineups sunk them. But anyway, thank you, Waller. Generally, not playing and me having a pivot. But I'm thinking Brady with with a Godwin and Evans is a nice little stack against a team that's not that great. And
what do you make of the Evans, Marshawn, Lattimore team matchup that they always? Do you read anything into that?
No, I'm not too worried. I think they'll work away. Sure, he might shadow him a lot. It only takes a few receptions for Evans to be good for fantasy. Kamara's an interesting one this week, isn't it? Like
he's so heavily priced, 18,850 on DraftStars. I think I'll be avoiding against this run defense,
isn't it? It's a hard defense to run against, and that's how they've used a lot of Kamara, haven't they? Like he hasn't just been the pure pass catcher.
That's right.
Old Mark Ingram, is he going to suit up for game 1 again?
I think he is. I think Peyton said, he's straight in. Mark Ingram's straight in after being traded from the Texans.
Yeah.
Look, Kamara's there for sure. I just don't think the ceiling is there. In this game. I could be proven very wrong. You never know.
And so be it if I'm wrong.
That's it. But the thing is, Kamara has a massive price to match if he wants to be value. Yep. If you want him to really get to that spot, like he needs to be hitting. He needs to be hitting almost 40 points for that price to pay off. Really, which is ridiculous. So I will be fading Kamara, unfortunately.
Callaway's interesting. I think that he's heavily involved, and so he's someone that potentially is a nice little bring back piece.
Well, we know that you attack Tampa through the air, and Callaway is week in and week out. He's been the clear number 1 target. Yeah, Traquan Smith did nothing last week to warrant getting more targets than he did. So Callaway's the guy. He's sub 10,000 on DraftStars. I think he's a very solid play.
Buccaneers defense, I think, is underpriced here at only 5,800.
Yeah, I agree.
New Orleans, I think they've got a chance to really put up a lot of sacks and turnovers. So.
The pass rush is phenomenal for the Bucs.
Yeah, so I don't mind that. That doesn't hurt too much to pay up for. Like, sure, they're not a 4K defense, but that's still not 7K. I only just looked at that popping at me now, so I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Godwin is the clear cash play in this game. Less question marks around Evans and Lattimore then. So I think if anyone's a cash play here, it's probably him. All right. Next up, last game for the slate. Let's smash this one out. It's Denver taking on Washington. 3-point favorites into Denver, 44-point total. Is this stackable? Yes, because Washington give up the most DK points to quarterbacks and the second most to wide receivers. They're 29th in DVOA versus the pass, so I'm stacking Denver here. I mean, Washington could have a decent game as well, but I don't want to trust Taylor Heineke. And McLaurin is my risky pick because Denver is the 8th worst in pass DVOA, yet they're 24th in points given to wide receivers. So there's a bit of a conundrum here. Plus, McLaurin is just showing he's a boom or bust play each and every week. So you could get 35 points out of him or you could get 3.5 points out of him. It's going to be interesting. Cheapies, well, Tim Patrick's still there, sub 8,000. Yes, Jerry Jeudy's going to come back. We do know that. But Tim Patrick's still paying the 3.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm probably grasping at straws there.
Cortland Sutton for me is the smash here. He's going to be in lineups that aren't part of. Like I'll have him in other stacks just as a piece at 12.8. K. I think this is a huge game for him.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Cortland Sutton. Well, Jerry Jeudy's also there at 12.7. He's going to be even less owned coming back from injury. Yeah. And if he was almost ready to go last week, then potentially he's going to be right as rain, and he could also be the one. I'll be alternating, I think, Sutton and Jeudy throughout my lineups this week because I think both of them have that ceiling. But you're right. Sutton has shown already this year how great he can be in all around the ground. So, look, Cortland Sutton, I agree, 100% Arch. He is a great pick for sure.
Can Denver just have one running back, please? Just be helpful.
I know, because you can't play either of them in this game.
Oh, I mean, come on, guys. Just get rid of one.
Next year. Unfortunately, I think it's just a next year thing with these guys.
Yeah. Fant,
anyway,
what do you think Fant as a tight end this week?
It's a decent option for sure. It's
a little bit more pricey.
Yeah, he's 10 plus 1,000 on Draft Stars. I think I'd rather be going down. If it's unless he's part of a stack.
Yeah. When I've got Goddard and Higbee available to me cheaper.
Yeah, I'll go them. Yeah, 100%. Well, everybody, that's the main slate.
It is.
There's 2 other games, right? You've got Minnesota and Dallas. That's going to be crazy. Playing that showdown is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
There's going to be so many pieces that I want a part of that I don't know how the pricing is going to go because it's just going to be so hard to read. That's going to be really intriguing to see how that comes out. You're going to be playing, I don't know, if Michael Gallup is back, if not, or then you're playing, the guy, who's the third wide receiver in Cowboy Island?
Oh,
yeah. No.
What were you saying?
Who's the third wide receiver in for the Cowboys?
What's it? Wilson.
Wilson, that's it. Cedric Wilson. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of Wilson and a lot of Osborne, like you said, in that. And then we've got Kansas City taking on the Giants, which I think is going to be another high scoring offensive game. And so there's going to be some great pieces in that.
Could you imagine if the Giants won?
Could you? I could see it. I can see it happening. 100% can see that happening. Give me Daniel Jones for 60 yards on the ground and passing for 2 touchdowns and 200 yards. That's it. That's in the realm of possibilities. 100%. So that's gonna be fun. Look, the primetime games are showing out this year. They've been wicked fun. Really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, guys, check us out. Like and subscribe.
We're here. We're finishing.
We are here. We're at the end of the show. And make sure you check us out on our socials. Yes, that's it. The lights have not gone out. Thank goodness for that. Arch, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, we did it. Look, I'm just glad we did it. And we got 2 episodes for the price of 1 this week. Let's just look at it that way.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Fantastic. Everybody, have a
guys,
great week.
Join our Discord. Join our Patreon and Discord before you go.
$2. Remember Cunningham's Warehouse.
Yes.
That's it. Little essay reference for you all. Fantastic. Catch you guys. We'll see you next week. May all your lineups be profitable.
Bye.